Industrial Metamorphosis Embracing Industry 4.0, which will be moderated by Mr. Saurabh Bhatnagar from KPMG, who is a partner in KPMG. We have Magnus from Ericsson. I'd like to welcome Magnus onto your stage. If you can please join us on the stage. We have Mr. Amit Sethi from TCS, who will be joining us on this panel. We have Mr. Niels, who will be joining from IPT. We have Mr. Vijay Kumar Balyan, who will be joining from Accenture. And we'll have Mr. Saibal Roy from Bharti Airtel. If he's there, he can join us. We'll request Mr. Saurabh Bhatnagar to kindly come on the stage, sir.
So that's me. Been working now for the last 27 years across 4 companies. Love to talk about these topics, changing every other day. And as you will gather from my fellow panel members, the change and the rapidity of change in this space is so much that one has to actually struggle to keep up with what's happening and how it applies to real-world applications. So I have with me Magnus, I have Amit, Niels, and Vijayan as fellow panel members. I will request them to introduce themselves, introduce their firm that they work for, and perhaps provide some initial thoughts on this very, very interesting topic of Industry 4. Not new, but very rapidly changing and evolving, and their thoughts on this topic with themselves would be very interesting to have. We can progress in the order of Magnus, yourself first, Amit, you, Niels, you, and Vijayan after. Is that okay? All right, lovely. Over to you.
Thank you, and good afternoon. Pleasure to be here. I'm Magnus Hubring. I have a role as CTO Asia Pacific from Ericsson. Now, Industry 4.0 and Ericsson, well, I'd say it's a lot about 5G. And why do we go there? I think in Industry 4.0, you as a manufacturer, you want to make sure your quality improves, you need to know what your quality is, and you need to know how to drive efficiency in your manufacturing flow, and indeed improve safety and security for your employees. Now, a way to get there, I argue, is to digitalize and become data-driven. Data-driven, fundamental. The more data you have at hand, the more smarter you can become. And how do you collect data in real time? How do you process it in real time? Cut the wire. And here in comes 5G. It has the ability then to gather in data, process it, and then learn that knowledge in your manufacturing process. And I think that's fundamental. We've seen many great examples of industries who do these, and as soon as they start to do it, they unleash values they didn't think of. They get knock-on effects. Something that starts for maintenance of tools, using how often they're being used, is soon turned into improving product quality, deriving a considerably higher value. So in short, Industry 4.0, data-driven, improve quality, know your quality, improve efficiency, and improve safety in your manufacturing process.
Hi, my name is Amit Sethi. I am representing TCS here. I am the head of 5G Enterprise Solutions. I work globally with enterprises and telcos and help transform their business journey. I am a senior consultant. I develop, innovate, and also deploy solutions. And after the implementation, I take care of operation and maintenance also. So it's an end-to-end transformation, not only from consultancy point of view, but also from the implementation point of view. So I will tell you some of the real, deployable solutions, and also why Industry 4.0 has started picking up. So the term Industry 4.0 this is nothing new. It was there since 2011. Now, why everybody is talking about Industry 4.0? Because due to the competitive, landscape, everybody is looking for increase in the revenue. So every 10 years, the technology changes. So when 2011 Industry 4.0 was there in the picture, then connectivity was not considered. Now with 5G coming in, regardless of whether private 5G or public 5G, AI, now we are talking about Gen AI, then machine learning, deep learning. IoT has picked up. It has become IIoT now, industrial IoT. And our motto is bringing life to things. And this has helped us with a lot of transformations around the world. We are a master system integrator, vendor agnostic solution. We build and believe on platforms and services. Hardware can be from anywhere. TCS focuses in this transformation on three-dimensional approach. Dimension one being the infrastructure. Dimension two being bringing all the business logics together, integrating the platforms to give ease of deployment to the enterprises. Because there can be different logics, where enterprises will have to actually see and log in into different business logics. So by bringing everything together, one common dashboard, one bird eye view, it brings a lot of flexibility and scalability to the enterprises. And this helps in Industry 4.0 adoption also. And then while working with different vertical industry and defining horizontal use cases, this is where we have learned that there is a lot of education required, lot of knowledge transfer required, and enterprises do not buy the solution on papers. We have to show them real use cases. And this is where we have experience centers, we have passports around the world to actually showcase how these solutions work, how we help businesses transform their journeys. And then technical understanding, knowledge transfer is one. All the solutions have to be proven based on the ROI. So the kind of investment needed, and then after the investment, how many months it will take for the break even, and what is going to be the uptake in the revenue. All those business case has to be actually really prepared well. And this basically impacts the adoption, understanding, and then ease of deployment to the enterprises. Thank you.
Yeah, so hello, good afternoon. My name is Nils König. I'm working for the Fraunhofer Institute for Production Technology in Aachen, Germany. But I'm here representing the 5G ACIA, where I serve as a board member. 5G ACIA stands for 5G Alliance for Connected Industries and Automation. So it's a platform to promote industrial 5G and to make industrial 5G reality. So 5G ACIA has been founded in 2018, and until today we have more than 100 members globally. So the members are coming from different categories. We have the ICT that involves the vendors, but also mobile network operators or members, but also companies doing equipment, like measuring equipment. Then we have the OCT members, so the companies offering automation equipment, production equipment. And then we have academic partners and we have end users. So we have the four categories. So all what you need to create the full solution and to create the value chain. So our activities are divided in different working groups. So one working group is focusing on use cases. We focus on following the standardization, like 3GPP, and actually finding out what it means for our members and for the end users. But also, we give input to the standardization bodies like 3GPP. So in order to make sure that the future features that are currently in discussion meet the requirements of the industrial end users. Then there's a working group on spectrum. So as we know, there are different situations in the different countries when it comes to private spectrum, public spectrum. There are different deployment models. All of them work. And it's about to find out which kind of deployment models make sense for which use case. That is one working group on architectures, and then one working group on industrial 5G in practice. So industrial 5G in practice means we get industrial 5G done and tested. So on the one hand, it's about implementing, demonstrating, validating industrial use cases. And typically the test beds that we operate or that we endorse are operated by OT companies, ICT companies, and typically also an end user. And we do it in an industrial environment. That's very important because credibility comes with doing it in the industrial environment. And then we also have a demo wall, so to showcase all the device ecosystem that's already there on the market. And actually promoting that 5G is already possible, but also looking a little bit into the future in order to scale up the business, which is not yet scaled up enough when it comes to Industry 5G. So therefore, it's important to find out the business value of Industry 5G. Actually, we suggest calculation models that the MNOs, vendors, or the end users can use to really calculate the business value of the industrial use case. Then you can find out, okay, can I invest the money to buy the infrastructure or to buy the service? So, and that's what we are doing, and I would say it's quite successful, and we are here for the first time in India to make new contacts, to enhance our network. We have liaisons with COAI and 5GIF, and tomorrow will be a signing ceremony where we sign an MOU with Bharat 6G Alliance. And yeah, so that's we are open to discuss with you the use case and the requirements. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Vijay Kumar Balian. I'm part of Accenture. In my current role, I lead Industry 4.0 for Accenture in India. Actually, I'm associated with Industry 4.0 from last 10 years. And earlier, I had multiple global roles. And those roles have been giving me the kind of exposure that how the global companies are able to adopt different dimensions of Industry 4.0. And then I'm looking forward in this my current role to leverage that experience with our Indian companies to help them expedite Industry 4.0 journey. And I just wanted to pick it from IMC 24, the tagline that future is now. I think, we talk about future, but at this moment, the basic need of manufacturing and engineering departments is adoption of Industry 4.0. So if we talk about Accenture, Accenture is a global consulting, system integration, operations company. And this company has heavily invested into building the right capabilities of Industry 4.0 globally. You might have seen the kind of acquisitions we have done, the kind of investment has gone into building the right assets and enabler to really expedite that journey for clients. I think at this moment, what we see, horizontally and vertically is complete integration in terms of the capabilities. So if we talk about Industry 4.0, it really starts from the conceptualization of the product, designing those products which are connected and customized, taking those products into manufacturing facilities where we can really produce those with more efficiencies, and then also catering that to the customer. So I think that we call kind of, horizontal integration. If we talk about vertical integration, it's starting from the sensorization, going to your level 1, level 2, up to level 4, and then imbibing the cloud. So that's the way we believe that we are completely integrated in terms of horizontal integration and vertical integration. Now, if coming to, given my global exposure, I have, been part of multiple Industry 4.0 led business transformations with multiple industries. And that has given me the exposure and experience, and I have witnessed the kind of value getting unlocked with the help of Industry 4.0. So there are many companies, and there are many good companies even in India, which have moved beyond the POCs and POVs kind of concept, and they have adopted Industry 4.0 at scale. So I think to just give the example, one of the consumer goods company, which we are working, right, they have adopted into Industry 4.0 concepts into more than 100 of their manufacturing facilities. And we are calling it the appification of factories, where we really build very customized applications, app-based handheld devices for people, and the information is coming based on their role and persona dimension. And it becomes a very strong platform even to imbibe AI and Gen AI into the business processes to really help enable people to take right decisions. Another example I want to quote from my experience that helping a oil field service company to really create a digital native product to integrate their multiple departments starting from their field workforce till going to their workshops and manufacturing plant so that they have the visibility across the dimensions, and then thus it is resulting into helping them improve their profitability. Another example I can pick up from different industry, which is let's say oil refineries, right? How oil refinery companies are really adopting Industry 4.0 use cases to really attain the tag of Lighthouse Factory of World Economic Forum, and thus improving the quality, safety, sustainability of the firm while improving the productivity as well. So there are multiple use cases which have been proven, and now what we are looking forward that how do we bring that global expertise to our Indian companies and help them expedite the journey. Another example I want to quote from the sustainability that what impact Industry 4.0 is bringing on sustainability. There's a lot more value in terms of consumption of material. A recent example which I was involved in terms of helping reduce the packaging material by 40% into their different products which are more plastic driven, right? So imagine that reducing the consumption by 40% of plastic itself in a big achievement. And there's no limit, right? You can continue growing that dimension. Also, we talk about Industry 4.0, and Amit mentioned that it started in 2010 with IoT and then data and AI. Now we are talking about, and in fact, people will start calling 2020, we are talking about Industry 5.0. So I think that generation is shifted very fast. Now more robo-human collaboration coming and Gen AI adoption happening. We are really now seeing the dawn or the sunrise of Industry 5.0. And I'm extremely excited to be part of that era and journey to really bring the impact in Make in India and Viksit Bharat through Industry 4.0.
Thank you, Magnus. Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Niels, and thank you, Vijay. Vijay, is it okay if I ask you a continuing question on what we just talked about? I was listening to Magnus. He spoke about excellence on the shop floor, right? How this Industry 4 works. Now, you gave a lot of examples of what happened as a result of Industry 4. The question in my mind is, how does Industry 4 help in operations excellence? What is the secret sauce? How does it work? What are the challenges? How do we bring it all together? Any thoughts on that?
Definitely. Let me try and my fellow panelists can add. So I think when we talk about operational excellence is a very, very old concept and very, very successful concept, right? That key dimensions, if we talk about operational excellence, is more process-driven, more governance-driven, right? And that was good itself. But what Industry 4.0 brings, it brings more data and digital into operational excellence dimension. I just wanted to give one example that any manufacturing facility, right? And I myself has worked as a manufacturing person in the shop floor. One day your plant would be working very smooth, right? There's no hiccups, no breakdowns, everything is very smooth. Immediate next day, right? Same plant, same production goes disturbed, completely disturbed, right? The entire day goes into firefighting, right? And that is where Industry 4.0 comes. That how do we ensure by leverage of Industry 4.0 to have that best performance of the plant get repeated multiple times and maximum times, right? So I think, Saurabh, to answer your question, that Industry 4.0 brings two things into operational excellence. One is visibility, right? We are talking about, whether we're talking about predictive maintenance, predictive quality, manufacturing control tower, we are talking about, let's say, even supply chain control towers. What these control towers are helping, they're helping to bring visibility across the functions. So it's basically coming more integrated way. The second thing it brings in terms of the predictability, right? That's why we are saying that every prediction of failure, prediction of quality, prediction of even revenue. So I was talking to one of the sugar manufacturer in India, and they mentioned that when the sugar can come to my weighbridge, if I can really calculate that point in time and have the visibility that how much yield I'm going to get, right? That will really transform my industry. And how do we really bring that with the help of Digital 4.0 or Industry 4.0, right? So that is one dimension. Another dimension, what I've seen that Industry 4.0 brings in terms of the safety and sustainability part as well there, right? One more dimension I wanted to highlight what Industry 4.0 is helping. We talk about operation excellence, we talk about different re-engineering of processes. But if we talk about the different departments, 5 to 6 departments of a manufacturing plant, right? The real value comes when we talk about integrated operations, right? So I was talking to one of the client member and they said that we have carrying very high inventory into our warehouse. And whose KPI is that, right? Is that the KPI of sales and marketing? Is that the KPI of, let's say, production planning? Is that the KPI of my maintenance team because my plant gets breakdown and I had to carry more inventory? And I think the question could be, and the answer could be that all of the above, right? Because Industry 4.0 is helping to break the silos and collapse the boundaries between the departments and making it seamless integrated operations to really unlock the business value for companies.
Thank you. I was taking copious notes as you spoke. I noted some keywords down. You spoke of visibility, predictability, integration, and safety and sustainability. Right? These are the things that enable to Industry 4. Thank you, Vijayan. Magnus, your turn. Question to you. What are the best known examples of completely disruptive impact of Industry 4 that you are aware of and can be shared with us in this forum?
Okay, so few examples. I mentioned before becoming or being data-driven as a key pillar. And one, I think, nice example of a company that's very much forward-leaning there. It's a company, Atlas Copco. They deal with doing equipment for different kinds of manufacturing. They made a screwdriver, and it's 5G enabled, okay? Why is that so cool? And why do you need 5G for it, you could ask? Well, first of all, I'm an electrical engineer. I'm not into mechanical engineering, but this is how they taught me. Now, in industrial production, a worker puts the screwdriver over a bolt, pushes a button, and in a split of a second, it's tightened, okay? Then it goes on to the next one. But what happens during that split of a second is fantastic, right? The tool, first it does a lot of measurements, then it starts to turn, and it finds the rivets. Once it's found the rivets, it quickly tightens the bolt, and then as it comes to the bottom, goes down in speed and increases the torque, meanwhile measuring the angle of the tool. So how complicated can you make it? During this split of a second, they log thousands of data points. Majority of they threw away, but still a few thousand data points per bolt they store. And that includes angle, torque, etc., etc. That data is automatically transferred to a database in the factory. And imagine building a car, quite many bolts in a car. Why do you want to have that? Well, a few years later, your cars are spread throughout the world, and let's say the car maker has an issue with fastening of a seatbelt. Okay? They can go back to the database, analyze every car manufactured that year, how was that bolt tightened? And based on that, they can call back with surgical precision the smallest number of cars. So ask yourself then, what's the value of that compared to calling back all the cars? And also then, why don't you use just Wi-Fi for this? Question I often get. The reason is Wi-Fi is an air interface technology. It's not end-to-end system. With 5G, you have end-to-end encryption, you know what security you have, etc., etc. And that is well valued truly by the car manufacturer. If somebody hacks the network and compromises that database, it's useless, right? So it improves the quality, and you know what quality you have.
Thank you, Magnus. This was really revealing. I didn't know the stories, at least two of them. I didn't know the use cases. Maybe I'm going to think about a lot more and solve for them. Amit, moving over to you. You do a lot of selling sort of activity, market positioning activity for your firm, for Industry 4. A good question for everybody to know in this room would be, or to know the answer for everyone would be, what is driving the demand of Industry 4 type of solutions in the market? And how real is the demand? And what do you see of it going forward in the future, given where you've seen it in the last 5 years? How is it shaped? Where is it going? And is the nature of demand of such services changing? A perspective from you would really be helpful.
Yeah, definitely. So everybody is looking for increase in the revenues, increase of productivity, increase of operational efficiencies, increase of agility, scalability, flexibility. Plant operations, the production is basically stagnant. And I've done, business case for recently for one of the, manufacturing plant where the yield was from last many years, they were producing only, 500,000 of goods per day. So when we did a quantification and asked them, why you are not focusing on increasing the yield? Yeah, they said that's a good topic, but how to do it? So this is where, the expertise and the case studies and the references of our, deployments in other parts of the world comes into the picture. So we gave them consultancy to actually understand their current processes and then help them understand how improvements in, not only the connectivity from Wi-Fi to 5G and also from their, current manual operations to robotics and also using the conveyor belts, not using the human beings so much on the repetitive tasks, AMRs, automated mobile robots, and also, the data of, they were only focusing on IT, so we actually did a IT-OT convergence also. So this is very important where, manufacturing plants were not ready to take out the data from their premises. They were doing everything within their premises. And for complete flexibility and agility, it is very important to take out the data. But of course, with the 5G, AKA algorithm and SUPI, security protocols in place, it is very important that you provide them right connectivity to take out the data in a secured way. And that's where, imagine a situation where conveyor belt, moving with a speed of 5 meters per second, and only because, the robotics companies have designed their robotic arm in a way that they can only pick and, place the goods basically with certain speed. While conveyor belt have the capability to increase to 3 times. And nobody taught them that you can actually increase the speed of conveyor belt by implementing vision analytics so that the robotic arm gets the instruction before even the goods come. And you can increase the speed to 15 meters per second. So when we did a pilot, we increased the speed, and before robotic arm, throws the ball with a closed eye, with vision analytics, we told them, that the goods are coming at a rapid speed and they have to move very fast. Their yield started to actually increase, 2x, 2 times. So 100% of, operational efficiency was actually demonstrated. And this is where we did a simple mathematical calculation of, okay, you are making $500 per second. If we make it, $1,000 per second, multiplied by 60, multiplied by 60 again for hourly calculation, multiplied by 24, multiplied by 30 in a month, multiplied by 12 in a year, multiplied by 5 for 5-year business case, which is a typical calculation, then they realized. And then how much investment is required? $10 million. How much yield you get? $4 billion over the next 5 years. So this is where they started to understand after really seeing increase in the productivity. So this is how we are to actually help them build real transformation journeys. And transformation is not only about business transformation, it is about physical and digital transformation basically, right? So when you go to Industry 4.0, not only the sensors or not only the platforms are required, so upskilling of the skills, upskilling of machines, collecting the data in a more intelligent way and converting into real-time analytics is required. In the past, people used to do all the computing with the Excel files and the Word files. Now, basically, there are tools, to do the edge computing, and this is the power of, technology. This is going to change the future and the way we work today.
Amit, thanks a lot. I did multiply the number that you got. I got 5 billion, 72 million. I'm sorry, I'm kidding. But it's a big number. So thank you very much for bringing that insight on value-based Industry 4 impact, right? That's always the case, and that's what you've been suggesting. The more we discuss as a panel, there are a lot of terms that are getting thrown into the system, and I will request Niels to just demystify what some of these terms could mean. And I think they're all ingredients of what constitutes in Industry 4. He started talking about edge computing, then suddenly started talking about 5G, then he said connectivity, then he said security. I think he was talking about precision sensors. I don't know, whatever else. Then I think Vijayan was referring to level 2, level 3 systems somewhere in his discussion. So can you demystify the key ingredients of what constitutes a successful Industry 4 implementation, and what do companies do about it? They're a more basic question, but I think it's very relevant.
Okay, so I cannot promise to give the golden recipe, but
Okay, right.
adding to the challenges that Amit just addressed, so flexibility and scale and so on, there are also this classical so triangle of tension, quality versus cost versus time. So that's always there. And that's always a challenge for the companies to have the best economical production. So, and Industrial 4.0, Industry 4.0 can of course contribute to it. So the ingredients that I see, so of course you need data, it's all about data. That's pretty clear, and you need to acquire the data. So it starts with, typically with sensor systems. It starts with connectivity, so and there 5G is of course a very important pillar. Then it's about middleware systems and synchronization. So you need to make sure that your data are in sync. You know where they are coming from and when they existed. Then it's about data analytics, so machine learning, not only machine learning, but that's also important. And it's about digital twinning. So it's about creating the data architectures in order to store and also to process the data and utilize them, to harness the data that you have. Then it's about the infrastructure, so the cloud and edge computing infrastructure, which is needed, of course, to have all the data on your premise, to have them securely processed, safe. And at the end, everything has to pay out. It's about business models, so data-driven business models. So that can be an extra business for the companies to use their own data, but also use it for different other business. And so taking this kind of ingredients and taking the challenges like the flexibility, the scale, so having the possibility to have production systems which can scale up but be flexible at the same time is actually a contradiction. And at the same time meet quality and economical targets. So that is clear that there's no unique, not just a single technology, but in order to make it possible, so 5G is of course a very important pillar, plus all the computing that comes along with 5G. So when we're talking about industrial 5G, it's mostly on-premise or it's a dedicated resource, either provided as a public network integrated non-public network, so PNI, NPN, as part of the MNO's offering, or it may be a completely on-premise isolated solution. And it has to come with computing resources. You cannot just have to provide the connectivity without a computing resource. That's pretty much clear. It's like the fuel for a car. So you have the Mercedes-Benz, you have the Ferrari, which is the 5G network. You have to fuel it, right? So you have to have the edge computing. And 5G ACIA is dealing with all these kind of questions and making it tangible, bringing it into practice, dealing with all the practical challenges. I mean, it sounds pretty obvious and pretty easy theory, but getting it done is a different story. And so on the one hand, we have done this kind of implementation works, but of course, before that, we defined all the architectures, defined all the infrastructures. For instance, there were different white papers published and publicly available at the 5G website about the deployment models, about edge cloud integration, plus use cases, also key. And yeah, that's where I think when it comes to Industry 4.0, 5G is, of course, extremely important. And 5G ACIA is there to promote it and make it possible.
Niels, thanks for that. Just a quick follow-on short question. Maybe Amit, you can also add to this question here. And this is about 5G particularly. And I know you both are passionate about 5G, right? What is impacting the adoption of 5G at a much rapid rate? It could be adopted faster for Industry 4, but is it happening? Are you happy with the rate of adoption of 5G for solving problems of the business, using Industry 4 solution kit, using 5G? What's your experience been?
You mean if the 5G the market adoption is there already, or what's this the question?
I'm talking about connectivity and the adoption of 5G for connectivity.
What you mean what it takes?
Yes.
Of course. I mean, it's very simple. We have to do it together. It's only possible to do it together. That's why we have this very diverse set of members, more than 100 members globally, and so it's pretty much clear we can only do it together. Yeah, to do a practical thing, when you define a use case, the end user should do it actually. But the problem is, most end users do not know enough about the technical capability. So we have to teach them. So there's also about this awareness building, so knowledge building, skilling, training. So that's a little bit the challenge I see. So we have to convince and find people who do not know yet about the solution, right? So that's a little bit the challenge. But yeah, we are working on this to make it public, that about to disseminate the technical capabilities of 5G, and show the practicalities. So that's actually it's quite simple. Okay, but right. So we do not understand why the market is not picking up. But we have an idea. So there are, let's say, a few obstacles from companies or manufacturing companies' perspective. The one is the technical use case understanding. So that's what I was talking about. So they have to understand how 5G can contribute to their challenge and to their solution. The other thing is then the lack of understanding of the return on invest. So first of all, as we know, 5G will get compared with other wireless technologies. Mm-hmm. So that will continue with Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 7, will continue with 3 potentially. And so that's what we have to understand, where 5G contributes and provides the technical benefit, and how that actually affects a production KPI, like for instance, the good part rate, or the scrap rate, mm-hmm. or the overall equipment efficiency. So we have to understand where 5G actually contributes technically, and then convert it into dollars or euro. So that's what we are doing right now in order to prove that 5G actually pays out. Of course, it may be more expensive than other wireless technologies from an investment cost perspective, but that's what we are seeing as a challenge and an obstacle. And we have done analysis of multiple use cases, which we are about to publish as a white paper by next year, where we calculated the return on invest for an AGV use case, for instance, a standard AGV that goes around on the top floor, transporting a part, and where we estimate that the 5G connected AGV can go faster than the Wi-Fi connected AGV because it has a higher reliability and connectivity. It has a lower latency or lower guaranteed latency, so it can go faster. And it can go safer at the same time. And when it goes faster, it can transport more parts in the same time. And that you can easily calculate, right? We did it for, let's say, with some ballpark numbers. We came up with an estimation of this kind of standard AGV use case, that it saved the company over a period of 5 years more than $300,000 just for the single AGV. If you
Understood.
scale up, a company may operate multiple AGVs, then the investment cost not a big deal anymore.
Amit, would you want to add on that aspect he spoke about? Yes, please.
So, telcos are basically driving enterprises
Correct.
uh, in a public 5G, kind of business cases.
Correct.
While enterprises understand that, their data cannot go out of their premises, it has to stay within their premise. When I say data, it's not only about data storage, but about the access control also. So all these devices, when they connect, disconnect, and all the analytics will go to telco. If telco will do, slicing, regardless of whether they want to do in a, core slicing, or even if they want to deploy access network to the enterprises,
Right.
data will go to them until the 5G SA core is deployed to the enterprise. Now, enterprises understand, the importance of storing the data within their premise, while it all comes to, higher investment. So to answer your question, whether, 5G is getting adopted with the private enterprises, we are seeing most of the deployments are with the POC stage.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to, because it has to be, first use case discovery, custom, tailor-made a solution basically for specific requirements of an enterprise. When we actually, present the business case to them, they want to actually see the value. This is where POC is very important. After the POC is, successfully completed, we actually prove, the KPIs that we have assured. Then it comes to the mass deployment. In mass deployment, this is where they are afraid of the higher investments required in a 5G private network deployment. However, they understand 5G private network is much better than public 5G network. And more importantly, it is more secured and agile as compared to Wi-Fi or LAN connectivity, because it offers complete mobility. The range is higher.
Right,
The outdoor radios with 40 watt provides, ample coverage basically, especially if you're talking about N28, you can have up to 2 kilometers of coverage in a clear lineup. So they understand. Then it is driven mainly by North America, followed by UK, Europe, and then come to Asia Pacific. Our neighboring country is leading.
Okay.
They have deployed in manufacturing plants alone. They have deployed more than 70% of the plants are completely 5G private network, ready. So this is where, and it comes back to the regulator also. So if you go to CBRS bands are there in America, then Ofcom is there in UK, BNet is there in Germany. But here we have to depend on the telco. So this is where the adoption, it is not that it will not be there sooner or later, it will be there. People have started understanding. The decision makers have to really understand the potential and invest in the technology. And then at the same time, we as a technology maker have to come out with the innovative business ideas, not everything like radios and core and servers, everything on capex based. We have to come out with a hybrid models to help them deploy faster.
Super. Thank you very much. Vijay, one last question for you before we'll just open it up for a general discussion. I'm very conscious of the time. I'm running the stopwatch, just being conscious of the time here. The term Industry 4.0, I think we spoke about 5G, we spoke about connectivity, we spoke about sensors. Isn't there an angle of domain specificity to creating good Industry 4 solutions? What I mean is that if you're good at Industry 4, does not mean that you can do Industry 4 in any industry. There's an industry specificity to it. And that unless you are completely on top of these nuances of a given industry, you also can't devise good use cases and deploy them successfully in industry. How correct is that statement?
Yeah, so definitely what is happening that as we all talked about that a lot of POCs are happening. And when it comes to the scale, right, that becomes the industry specificity. So let's say we take example of consumer goods companies,
Yeah.
right? Large consumer goods companies, they would have 50 plus, 100 plus plants globally. And most of their configurations remain the same. If they are producing a chip, they're producing shampoo, they're producing soap bar, broadly their technologies, their machines, their assembly line would be similar, right? So in that dimension, it becomes very easy. You prove at one plant, one line, and you replicate across 100 plus lines, right? So there it becomes very, very important, right? But having said that, that there are different nuances of different industries. We have seen even mining industries adopting a lot, right? If we talk about, let's say, autonomous vehicles, right? The adoption in Pilbara mine in Australia, right? That was kind of, first of its kind, right? So every industry has a specificity, but I think we want to bring to that industry 4.0, and a lot of people talk about that we can't afford industry 4.0, especially that I hear more often in India, right? When I talk to CXOs, they say probably we can't afford that, right? And what we say that, there's no question of affordability. It is a simple math of ROI, right? If you have a problem, like Amit was mentioning that they're not even thinking beyond going to that, 5 meter per second to 10 meter per second. The same example is OE we are talking about. People believe, because those management books were written in 1980s and 60s, when they say 90% OE is good enough, right? And people have read that and no one took that, pain to rewrite those books. That in today's scenario with Industry 4.0 and all of this 5G and data AI and Gen AI, now you can aspire to be 98% of OE, 99% of OE. And that incremental value is really differentiating the market leaders. So if we talk about, let's say, example of Unilever, for example, right? The cloud-only enterprise. Every domain they have adopted the cloud. It is becoming extremely easy for them to, adopt Industry 4.0 across their functions, right? So I think we just need to, one, I would say, again, the mindset situation, but it has, let's say we talk about World Economic Forum, right? They're coming up with these lighthouse plants. And when you see the list of lighthouse plant, it has a Kalinganagar of Tata Steel. It also has many refineries. It has a lot of pharmaceutical companies which are more sophisticated. So across the industries, they are proof of value, which is being unlocked with the help of Industry 4.0. It's more of how people really, break that ceiling of the mind and really embark on that journey.
Thank you, Vijan. That's very comprehensive. Gentlemen, we've run out of time, but I do have a very important question, and I think that's something to all of you, right? And I'll give you 2 minutes before you can answer that question. It's going to be 2 words to describe, and 2 words only, no more than that, because we don't have time. 2 words to describe what's inhibiting a more accelerated, faster adoption of Industry 4 technologies in the world, in the market, in the industry, whatever, right? I'll give you 2 minutes to think, or 1 minute to think before you answer, but only 2 words. What's inhibiting, I'll repeat the question, what's inhibiting the rapidity, the accelerated adoption of Industry 4 in the industry? Or, by the way, even government, for example, but Industry 4, adoption and acceleration, what are the 2 most common key factors, according to you, described in 2 words by you? I'll give you 1 minute before I can give you the mic to answer. Think about it. 2 words. Key factors to increase, to enhance the adoption, or what's inhibiting or increase. I mean, you can think of it either way. What are the 2 factors inhibiting, or what are the 2 factors to increase the adoption? Whatever. 2 words. I'll give you 30 more seconds. 30 more seconds. All right, Vijay, why don't you start from the other end? 2 words.
And I think I would say only one word, Saurabh, to make it simple. It's ROI.
ROI is inhibiting. Are we saying that there's not? Are we saying that there's not enough ROI in Industry 4? Is that
No. ROI is there. People are not able to calculate that ROI.
So
that is, if you calculate the right ROI,
okay.
that affordability, adoptability, everything goes.
Okay, so you're saying it's the inability of people to calculate an ROI or the true ROI on in. Fine, thank you. That's 1 word. Over to you, Neil. Over to you.
Develop ecosystem.
I'm sorry.
Develop ecosystem.
Ecosystem.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Ecosystem. Any other? 2. One. I said two things. One is ecosystem.
Okay. The other one is to work together. So we can only do it together.
Understood. Thank you. Over to you, Amit.
Lower investment.
Low investments.
it can be funding from government, it can be understanding of the enterprises to realize the potential. So there has to be a lower investment model.
Lower investment model, okay?
And second, I would say most important, people have to really realize their hungerness towards making more. So competitive landscape, they have to really understand. So knowledge, one word, is really required because there is a lot of potential. People don't want to understand when it comes to the investment. They don't want to learn about it, and this is where we are seeing lack of adoption world.
Okay. All right. Magnus,
Upskilling ecosystem.
scale across system,
Upskilling
upskilling,
ecosystem.
upskilling, and ecosystem. Okay, I think there was a lot of discussion in the last panel around upskilling and ecosystem, etc., all of that, and people are having a debate about what truly upskilling is and what is not. But I think I've got the points, and I'll quickly summarize. We're at the 55th minute of this discussion. I'm conscious of the time again. I'm taking back three things from this discussion, right? One is Industry 4 is here to say, provided people understand the associated ROIs and the true ROIs and the associated calculations of that, which is never so easy. And if that happens, the Industry 4 is there to add that value, and that's the only way it sells well, it gets adopted well, and it sustains value. That's the first point I'm taking back from this panel. The second thing I'm taking back through this panel is there is an industry-wide application. It is not industry specific, it's industry agnostic. It's a matter of us applying our minds to it and making it happen in the right industry with the right solutions. 5G as a key enabler, it has a lot of inherent advantages for it to be adopted for Industry 4 applications. And the more people understand and get that knowledge, it'll be easier for Industry 4 to get adapted sooner, faster. Last point I'm taking back is, I'm just looking at my notes. Yet PQ, the point that you made, yield, energy, throughput, production, quality, and safety, Magnus, are the important drivers of success. Use that as a basis for having to justify an Industry 4 intervention of any kind that you want to think about. It is, at the end, a lot about data. All of you spoke about data and data-driven analytics, which backs up the solution to Industry 4. That's a summary, gentlemen. I hope I've not missed any key points. I want to thank you so much for your participation. Niels, you've come from Germany all the way for this. Thank you. You flew down from Singapore just this morning. So thank you very much. You both came from Gurugram, so no points for that. I came from Gurugram too. All right, so given it takes more time from Gurugram to come here. But again, thank you so much, very much for your time. It's been wonderful speaking to you, gentlemen. The rich experience, knowledge always matters. I learn everything every time I spoke to you. Again, good luck and thank you. Yeah, please don't go away. You have to collect a memento as per the lady, so just stay here. Thank you. Next year too. Very nice, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Group photo. Never be done. Oh, this is for me?